What are the conditions that lead to having a beneficial mindfulness practice? Hi, my name is Ted Meissner, and welcome to Mindfulness Voyage. Today we're going to be learning about new research which checked into that very question. What are some of the things that lead to having some positive outcomes from our practice? The results may be interesting in that it's not necessarily the amount of time you do meditation. Come on, let's learn some more. Our guest today is Rodrigo Vergara. Rodrigo, thank you so much for being here at last. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for inviting me to
Yeah,
this video, to this nice conversation.
I'm so glad to see you. And for those who are watching this, it's been a while. Rodrigo and I have had some back and forth and just being able to schedule this. And I'm just so grateful to be able to have you here. And maybe we can start by having you just say a little bit about who you are and what is the work you do for those who might be new to you and your work.
Well, I studied a bachelor in science and a minor in biology, and then I did my PhD in psychology. So I'm kind of a freak, like I did not pursue a disciplinary trajectory. I work a lot in interdisciplinary projects, and among them, I work in dementia, for instance, also some topics in neuroscience. And one of my solid works are in meditation. Uh, well, I would say that during the last 5 years, mainly we have focused with a collaborator of McGill University in Canada. We have focused on development of ways to measure meditation traits or meditation related traits, and we have been working on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that background, and I'm really eager to hear more about this study, and we'll dive into that. Maybe you can say a little bit about what this particular study was about.
Um, this study was about which are the characteristics that are relevant for a meditator to take into account. I have a previous work also that reads the same question, that is, when you indicate meditation to someone, it's always good. That's a serious question, but also, when is best, or how should I? There's a lot of meditation kinds, and which is the procedure, the order, the timing, and there's a lot of questions that is still open today. And within that frame, one of the questions was how studies should characterize their samples. How we characterize people to know the attributes that may contribute to good results or absence of good results. It's not that often, but sometimes you have worsen on some symptoms. So that was the main or the initial question, and there's a lot of things to do that you can do, like a lot of questions that you can ask, and we did, actually. We did tons of questions about people meditation practice.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is one of the things that I really liked about this research is that there were 28 questions, and they each led to these different kinds of three categories: dispositional mindfulness, interpersonal mindfulness, and mental health. And these are some of the core things people are interested in and why they start a meditation practice at all.
Yeah.
So, you did the research. You had, am I correct? You had over 1,000 people as part of your sample size for this.
Yeah, it varies a little bit because this is a really long survey, so not all the people went through it, but yeah, it's around 1,000.
which is really nice to see because interesting thing shows up with that. And maybe you can say a little bit about what did you find? Because you measured a lot of, I think, 28 different independent variables, and only a handful of them were really the ones that showed as predictors. So maybe say a little bit about what did you find in this study? What were some of the results that were interesting for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually quite interesting that despite the so many variables or questions that we evaluated, only a few were actually relevant. So the main question here was which elements from the practice were the best predictors of mental health, dispositional mindfulness, and interpersonal. So all these questions were fairly, fair enough valid questions to characterize uh, meditative practice, and they are actually used in many studies. So within that context, to have only five relevant variables or questions was shocking, and these are related. Some of them are related with the intensity of the practice, if you want, in terms of time and frequency, but some of them seems to have to do with commitment to meditation. And that was something quite interesting to us. So this is not only about meditating frequently all the days and every week for a lot of years. No, this also has to do with a change maybe on your on the way you install meditation in your life. You commit to a lifestyle. It seems that it goes in that direction also, and these people may have as good benefits as someone who has meditated a lot.
Yeah, what I find fascinating about what you just said is that perhaps those who are watching this or listening to this have had this experience as well, either ourselves or others, that sometimes formal meditation practice can be a checkbox. I did my meditation, I did my time, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I do it every day, and that's kind of a different thing from integrating mindful presence into your life. And the commitment itself may be part of how that shows up. So there seems to be some really interesting ties between what's your relationship to meditation, how does it fit into your daily life, and not just I do it a lot. There's other stuff to it as well.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this makes sense if you go to Buddhist philosophy. They describe several paths that people spontaneously goes through. Some of them are quite, it's like just sit and meditate and things will happen. And that's one of the path that you can follow. But there's also another one where you learn a lot. You know, you read and you know up to some point what to expect. So in that path, you start to do things earlier in your daily life, and once you're moving forward with meditation, those things go harmonically grow together. You know, it's a different way, and none is either good or bad. But that that path was not considered in Eastern society. You know, in scientific research of meditation, we have the notion that if you want more, you need to do more. But it seems that there are some other aspects that has to do with a lifestyle. It's not only an instrumental use of meditation; it's a change in your way of life. You know, in the way you affront different, mostly affective and social situations, and so on. Things that are expected to occur when you have meditated a lot spontaneously, but you can surely work on them from the beginning.
Yeah. So maybe one last question about this particular research and maybe some of the things that you found with it. what are some of your maybe hopes and dreams about what we might see as we learn more about how meditation may be helpful? What are some things you would like to see happen in the coming years in mindfulness?
I would like to develop, and I think that is, uh, I will go back a little bit. I
Yeah, yeah.
think that during the maybe 40 years that we have been scientifically studying meditation, um, what I have seen is that we have basically realized the same things that the Buddhists have said during thousands of years with our methods. I mean that should mean something at least. That it makes sense to your culture at least. So we have been this had been a long work to how to say to put I don't know how to say it to be on date about Buddhist philosophy. You know, our societies have been able to go there and and be at the same point, and now we can contribute back, and that's the way I see it. You know, and one thing that you can see that is not solved in either case is the personalization of meditation. You know, to see what better fits to to you, not to everyone. You know, meditation have been sold like this global pill that works for everyone, and up to some point that's true, but that's not entirely true. You know, that people that have too high symptomatology on mental health illness is not eligible for meditation. They must be stabilized first. Also, some people, I don't know, have never meditated and they take these retreats, silent retreats for 15 days, and that's crazy. And actually, it can trigger problems. So there's a lot of work there. When you see the meditation planification, I mean, is you have differences on focus attention, open monitoring, and compassion. For instance, now it's quite common to introduce compassion quite early, but we are not sure if maybe you should train focus attention a lot because it promotes emotional regulation. And then when you have compassion, compassion is something that it can drive you to empathetic distress and some other uh, complicated affective processes. And if you're not prepared, that might drive negative effects. So it's a complex thing. We speak of meditation as one thing, and there's a lot of things going on and different abilities traits that are trained during this process. And within that context, I would hope that now we will go into personalization of meditation, so that when you sign up into a retreat, for instance, they make you a little survey and say you're not prepared yet.
Yeah. I think
This is
that's
the way you should go.
yeah, that's beautifully said, Rodrigo, because as we share here and the posts I do online is that your individual mileage may vary. You're a unique person, unique experiences, and meditation and mindfulness practices is not just a matter of listening to a guided meditation. It's more complicated than that, and not just a technique. There's more to it. And it can be very, very helpful in so many different ways. And there are some things to go into understanding that there are risks involved that are maybe not frequent and maybe not as severe as some other interventions might be. They can be. And having that understanding, that guidance of someone who does have a background in this, does understand it, so that you can get the most out of it for whatever your goals happen to be. Yeah, we need that. We definitely need that. So, for those who are watching or listening to this episode, I'll have some links where links are found for these podcasts. They will include links to the study and more information about today's guest. Rodrigo Vergara, thank you so much for being here. Good to speak with you.
Thank you for inviting me, for everything. It was a nice conversation.
Thank you so much for being here today, and please do remember to subscribe to this podcast. It does help other people to find it, and remember, every moment you have a choice. Make it the best you can, and I'll see you again soon on Mindfulness Voyage.